everyone, it's Sam aka Ocean Unknown, and welcome back to my channel. So I have finally watched yet another incredible fangan, which if you couldn't tell by the title of this video is Danganronpa Artless Deceit. Which, by the way, I keep wanting to call it Danganronpa He Artless Deceit because of the parentheses, almost like a G-idol situation, but the group is just called Idol, but many people still pronounce the G. Anyways, I made a video very similar to this about Despair Time a few months back in August, and I, along with you all, really liked that video, so I wanted to make the same type of video about another fangan. Oh yeah, I'm also cosplaying Yumeo. This video is all about trying to solve the biggest mysteries so far in Danganronpa Artless Deceit. This video will not include full predictions for how the chapters will go, who will die, and who is the mastermind, because I plan on making separate videos addressing all of those topics. So, without further ado, let's solve these mysteries.
So let me ask you instead. Tell me, do you know who killed me?
The very first video released by the team behind Danganronpa Artless Deceit was on November 28th, 2020, titled Trailer 1 Mystery of Hanako. The video opens with gossip about a mysterious death of a high school student, Hanako. I'd first like to point out a potential Easter egg, which is that the author of the news article to the left is named Rox. Now this could have been completely coincidental, but to me this is a reference to another fangan, Danganronpa F Shattered Hope, and their ultimate journalist, Rox. The voices in the video say that there was barely any information regarding her identity. Then the last voice says something very important.
No name, no records. Who was she?
This confirms a few things about Hanako. For one, her name is not Hanako. Upon some further research, Hanako is actually the name given to unidentified female corpses in Japan, well, Hanako Yamada to be specific. Basically, Hanako Yamada is the Japanese equivalent of Jane Doe. And I'm asking why, Lord? Sorry, I had to. Second, Hanako is a suspicious figure who has no previous records. The investigators state that Hanako's body was found at around 8:35 a.m. in the woods with no external wounds except for a gunshot wound to the head, but they suspect she could have been killed several days prior. The culprit left no evidence at the scene of the crime. Hanako herself is also quite the strange victim, as she had no identification on her, and she doesn't appear to have been in any form of birth registry, as if she never existed. However, there's one thing that could identify this individual, a Japanese-style tattoo, or irezumi, that goes from her right shoulder to a little above the right elbow. In the next trailer, The Fall of Himura, two characters are shown watching a speech by the chief superintendent of the Criminal Affairs Bureau, Karu Yasunaga. The two characters, Ryusei Himura and Yuki Otonashi, are a part of the Himura clan, a powerful Yakuza group. Yuki says that the police think they solved the mystery case and the public believes them. Ryusei chimes in saying no one will ever know what truly happened, as the camera pans out and reveals that they are looking at Hanako. In trailer number 4, A New Story Begins, the public believe that the Yakuza were the cause of Hanako's crime, and the trailer ends with Hanako walking in a flower field while the text appears that says, "I was too late, I'm sorry." Hanako turns around and says, "I'm sorry too." In the prologue, it is also confirmed that Hanako's death happened 6 years before the events of Artless Deceit. On the Danganronpa Artless Deceit Tumblr page, Hanako has her own character bio that reads, "The girl who shouldn't exist, doomed from the very beginning, a cursed existence, seen by everyone yet known by none. The root of it all despite being long gone. The killer was never caught." The basic information section gives us no information about her other than her height and weight, and every now and again, her picture changes from her in the clothing she was wearing when her body was found to an elaborate garment patterned with flowers. It's also worth noting that in her main artwork, her hair is significantly longer than in her official sprite, or those pieces could just be ribbons since some parts are cut off, but it's unclear. Hanako's whole character is completely shrouded in mystery, but I have a few theories as to who she is and what her connection is to the story of Artless Deceit. First of all, I think Hanako is more connected to the side story than the main story of the Killing Game. I also have an inkling that we already know Hanako's name, well, at least her last name. I think Hanako is a part of the Himura family. While this may seem like rudimentary evidence, look at Hanako, and then look at the members of the Himura family. They have the same hair color. Also, in the first trailer, Hanako is confirmed to have a Japanese-style tattoo, which in Japan, tattoos are often connected to the Yakuza. For those unaware, during the Edo period in Japan, irezumi-ki, or tattoo punishment, was a common punishment for criminals, which led to the association between tattoos and Japanese criminals, including the Yakuza. Now, in the culture of Yakuza groups, tattoos are often seen as a rite of passage for young and new members. We also see that two of the Yakuza-related characters, Yuki and Ryusei, are covered in tattoos. Hanako's death certificate and investigation reports also confirm that her tattoo is a Yakuza tattoo. In the outro of Artless Deceit, we also see Hanako walking towards the Himura clan before she vanishes. This is even more evidence that Hanako is involved in a way with the Himura clan. Along with this, we know from episode 7 of the prologue, it's confirmed that Hanako was, in a way, close with Denshi, who was involved with both the police force investigating the killing game and the Yakuza, and that Denshi used her as inspiration for the appearance of Ko, the android who is overseeing the killing game. Right after this connection between Hanako, Denshi, and Ko is established, Denshi mentions that the Himura clan has been quiet since the death of their previous chairman, which happened a few years ago. While he never gives an exact number of years, his connection with Hanako as well as the Yakuza, Hanako's lack of government records, and the fact that Hanako has both a Yakuza tattoo and looks similar to the current chairman of the Himura clan could potentially mean that Hanako was the former chairman of the Himura clan. This then might also mean that Hanako could have potentially been given the title of the Ultimate Yakuza before her death, since Ryuji Himura is also a former Ultimate Yakuza. While I, at first, thought it sounded a little too on the nose for Hanako to be the former chairman and also a little unrealistic because she looks so young, I actually believe this is true now, and that's all thanks to one character, Ryusei Himura. In his character profile, he is referred to as the uncrowned ruler of the past, which means he was never the chairman of the Himura clan, in which his younger brother is now. My theory is that Hanako was the chairman of the Himura clan, but was more of a figurehead while Ryusei was assisting and doing a lot of the work for the Himura clan alongside Yuki. To sum up this whole section of the video, I think Hanako was the former chairman of the Himura clan, with Yuki and Ryusei helping her with her duties before she was murdered, which leads us into our next mystery.
I strongly believe that pests like them should not be tolerated any longer, and instead, they should be exterminated swiftly.
The other important aspect of Hanako's mystery is who murdered her. I have two theories that go together that brings us two suspects. I think Kaoru Yasunaga and or Izawa Morita tracked down Hanako and killed her. But why them? The simple answer is that they found out about her connection to the Himura clan and took action to stop the Yakuza from gaining more power in Japan. In the prologue, Kaoru is the most outspoken about being against the Yakuza, and in her character profile, it says that her main priority has been decreasing Yakuza activities in recent years. In regards to Isao's involvement, in episode 7 of the prologue, Isao drops a card that Denshi picks up, and he is completely taken aback by the fact that Isao has this. He then says,
"Did he know about her too?"
in which Denshi is talking about Hanako, confirmed by the fact that he said before that, "I can't believe that a trace of her still remains today, 6 years later." 6 years, the same amount of time it's been since Hanako's death. This more than confirms to me that Isao was one way or another involved in the murder of Hanako alongside Kaoru Yasunaga.
Even the angels of Japan, known by all for their feats in bettering our nation, have been selected as ultimates to continue their service to society.
This is probably the most popular theory among fans of Artless Deceit, and I wholeheartedly believe it. Shion and Tomoya Morita are often referred to as the Angels of Japan and are twins brother and sister. Tomoya is the ultimate therapist and Shion is the ultimate criminologist. However, Shion does not remember ever being the ultimate criminologist. Tomoya tries to reassure her that she was being awarded the title of the ultimate criminologist, but she cannot remember being a criminologist, even with her name being on the certificate she received and everyone confirming that she is the ultimate criminologist. Because of this, I firmly believe the theory that Tomoya is the real ultimate criminologist and Shion is the ultimate therapist, and the EOS Institute swapped their talents for some unknown reason. In terms of evidence for this theory, Shion's character bio is mostly about how kind and compassionate she is and how she loves helping others. Seems like a lot of traits of an ideal therapist, right? Moving on to Tomoya's character bio, it says he's skilled at alleviating fear and tension, which, sure, are things that a therapist can do, but who else needs to be proficient in de-escalating tense situations? Profilers or criminologists. Also, speaking of profilers, maybe this is a bit of a reach, but Tomoya's outfit reminds me so much of Spencer Reid from Criminal Minds that perhaps this is a hint towards Tomoya being the real ultimate criminologist. Or maybe this is just me thinking about Spencer Reid while writing this, which is also very likely.
As a matter of fact, down to the 4th century, Christianity rejected the birthday celebration as a pagan ritual.
What kind of doctor are you?
Tomoya also says to Akira that she should know him because he's been on TV, and crime-related shows are more common than anything related to therapy or clinical psychology. Along with this, it is shown throughout the prologue and is also stated in his character bio that Tomoya has trauma related to guns and gun violence. While it is possible that his trauma is more connected to his complicated relationship with his father, who is the Commissioner General of the police, it is also a possibility that he has trauma connected to being a criminologist on duty. It's also worth noting that Tomoya lives with Isao, where Shion lives with her mother, and many have pointed out that the kid interested in criminology would probably be more around the Commissioner General, Isao, to assist in solving crimes. However, that might be a massive stretch. Another strong piece of evidence towards Tomoya being the real ultimate criminologist is that in the Artless Deceit OST, Tomoya is on the cover of the investigation music. While this could be mere coincidence or because Tomoya is seemingly the support character of the series, this, along with the rest of my evidence, could be pointing at him being the ultimate criminologist and Shion being the ultimate therapist. In the prologue, Akira, Bonnie, and Cho mention that they've had terrible encounters with creepy fans. Along with the constant references in the trailer that Akira and Cho are very famous, I think this frequent mention of obsessive, weird fans was absolutely intentional and will become more important at some point during the story. My theory of how this will play out is that one of the students in the Killing Game is secretly obsessed with one of, if not all of the girls I mentioned. And there is a very obvious answer to who it will be if it becomes true. Yeah, it's Satoru. Satoru is introduced right after Bonnie, who is the first person who brings up creepy fans in the story, and Satoru immediately becomes starstruck meeting Akira. It's clear in his introduction and his character bio that Satoru has a low self-esteem and gets flustered around people, especially those he admires, very easily. But there's one sentence in his character bio that makes me very suspicious of him. He wishes to be someone cooler and likable rather than embrace himself. Having a low sense of self-worth and accomplishment causes someone to idolize other people and become envious of the happiness in life they have. Satoru likely uses Akira's videos and maybe also chose music or Bonnie's video games as a form of escapism, but it will be revealed that he takes it a little too far. I think Satoru will be revealed to be a creepy, obsessive fan of one of these girls, but most likely Akira or Cho because of the emphasis the series is putting on the fact that Akira and Cho are so well known. How I could see this going down is that Satoru is going to be a mid-game killer. Around chapter 2 or 3, and during the trial, it will be revealed that Satoru is obsessed with Akira or Cho, or both. This is the theory that makes the most sense with what we know currently, but I think it could also be interesting if this supposed creepy fan is someone we would not expect. Someone like Atome, Kyoran, or Katsuhiko. Or one of the girls who mention creepy fans is secretly a creepy fan themselves. This is actually possible. Hear me out. There's another theory going around that Cho is going to be evil or potentially a killer, with the main reasoning being that she is voiced by Ellie, who's known for voicing, let's see, oh my god. While this may just be a mere coincidence, I could actually see Cho not being the nice person she appears to be, which could lead to her potentially also being this creepy fan that I think is among the cast. Her character bio specifically mentions that Cho becomes a drastically different person when she's angry. It will definitely be interesting to see how Cho acts in the Killing Game and if her anger does come out, which I have a strong suspicion will happen very early on. Overall, I do think someone is an obsessed fan in the cast. My main theory right now is that it's Satoru, but you never know.
You're useless, annoying, and you never shut up. While Shion surpasses you in everything you do!
In episode 4 of the prologue, Yumeo tells Akira and Tomoya that he didn't want to have an ultimate talent. He was awarded the title of the ultimate forensic pathologist, and while he expresses the sadness he feels towards his occupation, he does enjoy it as his line of work. Personally, I think Yumeo actually does appreciate being recognized for his skills as a forensic pathologist, and his anger towards his ultimate title is just a defense mechanism to the situation of the Killing Game and for his past. For context, the creator of Artless Deceit created a webtoon backstory for Yumeo and how he knows Izanami, who he is seemingly close with during the prologue. It's called The Coward Among the Gods, and I'll put a link to it in the description of this video so you all can read it. To summarize the webtoon, Yumeo and Izanami went to a prestigious high school together where Yumeo Yumeo helps take care of a fellow student who is being bullied, but Yumeo views himself as a coward for not helping him when the bullying was happening. Yumeo is then confronted by the bullies and he tells them to, and I quote, "eat shit and die," and then proceeds to fight the bullies. Izanami then says she wants Yumeo to join the student council with her, but he says he doesn't want to play the hero, which is most likely connected to Yumeo's backstory as the art changes from a younger character to Izanami. Izanami then says to herself, what he says out loud isn't the same as what lies inside his heart. It's clear that Yumeo's apathetic and rude nature in the prologue comes from the fact that he doesn't see himself as a heroic person, and personally, I think his behavior stems from his insecurities and that he feels like a coward. I do have my own theory of why he respects the dead so much and why he didn't want his talent. I believe the person he keeps associating with Izanami in the webtoon was a dear friend of Yumeo's who tragically passed away, and Yumeo blames himself for their death. Thus, Yumeo views himself as a coward who can't save anyone, so he pushes away anyone or anything that could tell him that he's not a coward. This is most likely why he's such a jerk to everyone and intentionally made Tomoya cry. And most of all, this is also probably why he is so resistant towards his ultimate talent, because being recognized for working with corpses is likely a constant reminder of his friend or that he couldn't save his friend. This is also hinted at when Yumeo says that most of the corpses he studies died in tragic ways, and how angry he gets when Tomoya calls corpses disgusting. There's also a very interesting theory that I came across that goes along with the Shion and Tomoya swap talents theory, which is that Yumeo defends Shion so much because Shion was Yumeo's therapist and helped him grieve the death of his friend. This honestly makes me like the swap talents theory even more because it creates so many dynamics within the group. But to wrap up the theory I was talking about, I think Yumeo has very mixed feelings about his ultimate title, which will definitely be an interesting aspect to the story as it's evident that he's not the only character who has conflicted feelings about his talent. Several characters are insecure about their skills or don't give themselves credit for their talent, some don't remember their talents, and of course, our protagonist is shocked that she was given an ultimate title for her illegal work, and is disgusted by the fact that she is being awarded for her ability to kill. I think this questioning of people's ultimate titles will become a massive theme of the story of Artless Deceit, especially since the EOS Institute has been set up so far to be an incredibly prestigious organization that only chooses the best of the best in all fields of occupation and cares a lot about their appearance as an organization. Yumeo's distaste for his title and interesting connection with Izanami, along with how everyone else feels about the EOS Institute and their titles, will definitely have some play into how the story of Artless Deceit will go from here. Speaking of Izanami...
Akira, you're not hiding anything, are you?
Izanami doesn't remember what her ultimate talent is, and unlike Shion, who had a certificate with her after being ambushed, Izanami didn't have a certificate to tell her what her talent is. So let's go over what we know about Izanami and her supposed talent. Number 1, in the third trailer, Kumiko Arase says that Izanami's talent is an elite talent that has only been given out once before. Izanami states in the prologue that EOS also made her take several tests before giving out her ultimate title, which is unlike any of the other ultimates who are all scouted out. She also implies that her name is somewhat associated with her talent. In Japanese mythology, Izanami, she who invites, is one of the central deities in the Japanese creation myth. Izanami, along with her brother Izanagi, were the 8th brother and sister gods to appear after heaven and earth separated into chaos and together, creating the first landmass. However, in the act of giving birth to the fire god, Kagutsuchi, Izanami was horribly burned and went to Yumi, the land of darkness. Izanagi then broke their union by sealing her in the land of darkness. Izanami is also the primordial goddess of creation, death, and the Shinto mother goddess. This is also very fitting with her goddess of creation subtitle. Moving on, if we look at her design, she has a lot of astronomy motifs, with constellation patterns on her dress, stars on her hair bows, and the crescent moon on her headpiece. Her design is very ethereal and celestial, almost otherworldly. In her character art, she is seen with doves, which traditionally represent peace, love, and freedom, as well as the Holy Spirit and art pieces from the Northern and early Italian Renaissance. Also, in some variations of her character arc is a scythe, which is typically associated with death, specifically the Grim Reaper.
It is hot as hell in this funky ass, hot ass room I'm in. Is that the Grim Reaper?
We also learned through the prologue and the webtoon of her and Yumeo's backstory that she knew Yumeo and pushed him to join the student council with her at the very prestigious school they went to. She is shown throughout the webtoon helping victims of bullying at the school and pushing Yumeo to do the right thing. Along with this, everyone in the webtoon calls her the goddess, and she has a high social status at the school, being in the student council, and her cousin is the student council president. She also tells Yumeo that she has a job, but never specifies what it is, so that's kind of suspicious. Furthermore, in her character bio, it says Izanami dislikes sinners, and saying in one of her voice lines,
"If anyone dares to be a filthy sinner, divine punishment will be exacted upon them."
Finally, Izanami is incredibly acute with her observations both when it comes to the killing game and when it comes to reading people. We saw a little of this in her and Yumeo's webtoon with how she could tell Yumeo wants to help others but feels like too much of a coward to do anything, but we see even more of this in episode 3 of the prologue. Izanami very quickly makes a hypothesis that the kidnapped ultimates are not in the EOS Convention Center, but a secret place that was rebuilt to look like the convention center. She also seemingly knows about Akira's secret life as a hitman, as she directly questions Akira and asks if she's hiding something. This probably will also play into Izanami's role in the story, which I predict is that she will cause quite a bit of conflict for Akira, as Izanami will most likely expose Akira's second ultimate talent early on in the story, and then view her as a sinner. As far as the possibilities for Izanami's talent, a lot of people predict that she is the ultimate hope, a staple of the Danganronpa series given to the protagonist-esque characters. I say esque because of my boy Kibo, but the devs behind Artless Deceit have stated that this story is not connected to the Danganronpa story at all. With this in mind, I doubt Artless Deceit would have the ultimate hope as a title. Many people also predict that because of her constellation dress, Izanami is the ultimate astronomer or astrologist, but that is such a normal talent that it's very unlikely. Like I said earlier, Izanami's star dress is likely intended to make her look celestial and otherworldly, not because she's an astrology girly. The last popular theory that I'm going to debunk about Izanami's talent is that Izanami is literally a god reincarnated. They tell me I'm a god, I'm also not a facade. Yeah, she's not a real god, I'm sorry, I think that's a little silly. Now for the talents I think could be Izanami's talent. The most discussed one I've seen is the ultimate executioner. Her desire for bringing justice to the world and enacting divine punishment to sinners along with the scythe in her artwork leads me to believe that she is a harbinger of both justice and death. Another thing, imagine if Izanami ends up becoming a killer in the story. What would the execution for the ultimate executioner be? Anyways, I also saw someone on YouTube say that Izanami could be the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner, which sounds absolutely wild, but the uniqueness of the theory piqued my interest. Another possibility includes the ultimate justice or justice bringer, which connects back to her dislike of sinners and want for divine punishment, and would make a lot of sense since the EOS Institute is a prestigious organization focused on the betterment of society and upholding its prestige. I also consider the ultimate moral compass, but in a different way than how Ishimaru in Danganronpa was the ultimate moral compass, but was just a hall monitor basically. If this were to be Izanami's talent, it would mean she's a being of ultimate perfect morality. There is also the possibility that Izanami is the ultimate mimic or imitator, meaning that she has every single talent, which could also explain why she had to take several tests to see if she was eligible to have the ultimate title and if she had every single talent to ever exist. Lastly, Izanami could also be the ultimate prophet, which could explain why her talent is so revered and has only been given out once. I have a feeling her talent is somewhat connected to God, or the concept that she is doing her talent for something bigger than herself, and I think this will tie her to another character who I will talk about in the last theory. Looking at all of these potential titles, personally I think the most likely is that Izanami is the ultimate justice due to her desire to punish sinners, the prestige of EOS, and how much they emphasize how revered her talent is, her desire to do what's right, which is evident in the webtoon, her observant nature and ability to pick up on anything off-putting in a scenario, her borderline creepy behavior towards Akira, who is secretly a hitman for the Yakuza, and the fact that her talent needed to be tested rather than scouted since justice and morality are internal things. The other two talents that I could really see being Izanami's are the ultimate executioner or prophet, but my reasoning for this is more connected to our final theory of the video.
You can call me the devil.
The devil is a mysterious character voiced by the icon, the legend, the madman himself, Sword of Swords. For those of you who don't know who Sword of Swords is and why I'm giving him this huge intro, He's the lying, manipulative, scumbaggy piece of shit. AKA David Cheam from Despair Time.
Alas, I was ill-suited to play the hero anyways. Time for Plan B. I looked up to those costume superheroes on TV.
At the end of the voice actor trailer, a mysterious character voiced by Sword of Swords is revealed, who says nobody remembers him because he's been out of the spotlight. We then see a silhouette of a man with red eyes wearing what appears to be a collared jacket or coat, as he says that we can call him the Devil. While we literally know nothing about this character, I have quite a few theories about this mysterious figure. Most notably, I believe the Devil is the man who rejected EOS's invitation to have an ultimate title years before the events of Artless Deceit. As far as why he rejected his title, I think the Devil is in strong opposition to the EOS Institute and rejected the offer as a form of resistance to the institution. Now that begs the question, what was the talent the Devil rejected? Well, that brings us back to our previous theory and how these two connect. I firmly believe that the first person to receive Izanami's talent was the Devil. Whether that talent is the ultimate justice, executioner, prophet, whatever Izanami's talent ends up being. My reasoning for this is that Izanami is surrounded by otherworldly symbolism. The doves, the constellation, her name, her goddess of creation subtitle, everything. On the other hand, the fact that this mysterious character willingly calls himself the Devil creates a foil for Izanami, who everyone views as basically a goddess on Earth. My theory is that the Devil was praised for his revered, never-before-seen talent and was beloved by all, but before the ceremony, he rejected his title, most likely for a reason that will become relevant to the plot of Artless Deceit. Maybe something connected to the Yakuza? Maybe he found out something corrupted about the EOS Institute and didn't want to be associated with them? I could definitely see the latter being plausible if he and Izanami end up being the ultimate justice, because then the Devil would be too justice driven for EOS, and the EOS Institute would not like that one bit, so they kicked him out and then lied to everyone saying he rejected the title. Nonetheless, I think the Devil has the same talent as Izanami. Lastly, and most important to the story of Artless Deceit, what is the Devil's connection going to be in the story? My theory is that he will be the merger between the main story and Yakuza plot, and he will do this by exposing a lot about both the EOS Institute and the police force that is so intertwined with EOS. I think Denshi and Isao will come in contact with him at some point, but he won't be too helpful to their search for the ultimates in Kumiko Arase. There is also the possibility that the Devil is in part involved in the killing game, and this could be a revenge plot of EOS Institute altogether. Perhaps he is the true Artless Deceit? But just like the answers to all of these questions and theories we have, we will just have to wait and see how the story turns out. And those are all of the theories about Danganronpa Artless Deceit that I have for this video. If you haven't watched the prologue of Artless Deceit, I highly recommend you give it a watch. Everyone working on the project is working so hard and diligently, and they're all doing such a phenomenal job. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to this channel, make sure to turn on the bell for notifications, and leave a comment down below. Comment any theories you have on Artless Deceit or your thoughts on the theories I had in this video. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much!